after he speaks to all of us. I want to thank all of you for coming. Is that better?
Yeah. Be shorter.
Be shorter, yeah. So maybe we can raise this one. Maybe I'll have to hold it.
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank you all for coming. And I want to thank our honored guest, Representative Jamie Raskin, and our esteemed panel. Duty to Warn is an association of mental health professionals who advocate Trump's removal under the 25th Amendment on the grounds that he is psychologically unfit. We have been controversial, particularly because some of us, like myself, have diagnosed the president in defiance of the APA's Goldwater rule. In the movie that you will watch next, in the next hour, and in the remarks of our panelists, you will hear a lot about the Goldwater controversy. But I want to make just one point about it here, now. Knowing that Donald Trump meets all criteria for malignant narcissism is actually a matter of national security. The condition, first described by famed analyst Erich Fromm, who escaped Nazi Germany, was Fromm's attempt to explain Hitler, Stalin, and other grandiose sadistic leaders. My mentor, Otto Kernberg, taught that it has 4 components: narcissism, I know more about ISIS than the generals, and I don't care about anyone but myself, paranoia, crazy conspiracy theories, demonizing minorities, demonizing the opposition, demonizing the press, demonizing anyone who doesn't kiss his ring, and his sense that he's a victim. Antisocial personality disorder, a pervasive pattern of exploiting and violating the rights of others, like not paying your workmen, like having a fraudulent university. And I would say that sexually assaulting multiple victims would be violating the rights of others. So anyone who tells me that I can't diagnose from a distance is full of it. Unless we forget the 4th component, sadism. This is very important. This is someone who takes pleasure in bullying, demeaning, and causing pain to others, and gets a kind of rush and sense of power from causing chaos and destruction. While much of America had the comforting notion that Trump would pivot and become more presidential once he achieved power, Fromm taught us that in fact it is the opposite. When these personalities achieve power, they become dramatically worse. They become more grandiose, more paranoid, more viciously and impulsively destructive. Fromm has unfortunately been proven right. And if only the mental health community had fulfilled its ethical obligation to warn the public, we could have told you what to expect, and maybe, just maybe, influence 77,000 votes that allowed Trump to become president. Now, Trump has gotten so much worse that his own party and those in his inner circle are panicking. Recent reports cites one of his oldest and closest friends, Tom Barrack, saying he is shocked and stunned by Trump's behavior. Excuse me. This isn't the man he's known for 30 years. His Secretary of State has called him a, quote, fucking moron. It's in quotes, so you can't blame me. When he wanted to increase the nuclear arsenal by 1,000%. His most important ally in the Senate, Bob Corker, has said he is unstable, in need of adult supervision, and setting the country on the path to World War III. Adding that I know for a fact, and this is a quote, that every single day at the White House, it's a situation of senior administration officials trying to contain him. Think of this. Tillerson, Madison, and Kelly are, quote, those people who separate our country from chaos. The senior administration is protecting us from the president, and I don't think they're going to be successful. Adding that except for a few people, the vast majority of our caucus understands what we're dealing with here. Take a moment to think about this. The majority of Republican congressmen know that Donald Trump is dangerously unfit. White House staff, the people who work most closely with him, say he is increasingly unfocused and consumed by dark moods, unstable and unraveling, to the point where West Wing advisors are, quote, worried Trump's behavior could cause the cabinet to take extraordinary constitutional measures to remove him from office. They're talking about the 25th Amendment. The way concerned family members might talk about a loved one who is in need of a psychiatric intervention. Words like increasingly, I just lost my adopted. Yeah, I was going to say he's losing a step. Thank you. Words like increasingly and unraveling and emphasizing the ing describe a psychological deterioration that is in process. So I have some very bad news for you. We have not hit bottom. He is going to get worse. And it's no exaggeration to say we are facing the greatest psychiatric emergency in American history. Trump is waving nuclear missiles in the world's face, shouting, I'll do it if I want to, and no one can stop me. I'll show you fire and fury like the world has never seen before. If he were anyone but the President of the United States, the police would probably be carting him to St. Elizabeth's Hospital for an involuntary emergency psychiatric evaluation. And though I know you're all laughing, I'm not joking. It's as if we are 300 million hostages, stuck on a bus driven by a drunk driver, flooring the gas pedal into oncoming traffic. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not panicking, then you're not paying attention. But warning the public is not enough. We have to do something. But how? The man we are honoring today, Representative Jamie Raskin, has provided an answer. Jamie, a freshman representative from the 8th District of Maryland, has proposed a smart, reasonable, and fair process for evaluating a president if there is reasonable concern about his mental functioning. House Resolution 1987 would establish a nonpartisan commission of medical and psychiatric experts and retired politicians from both parties to evaluate the president's mental competence. It now has 31 co-sponsors. Jamie is proposing to strengthen, very well deserved. Jamie is proposing to strengthen the 25th Amendment so it can be invoked, if needed, in a fair and objective way. This is not a partisan issue. Sanity is not a partisan issue. Decency, honesty, empathy, and competence are not partisan issues. Threatened mass murder by nuclear weapons is not a partisan issue. Survival is not a partisan issue. My document disappeared again. And survival is not a partisan issue. But if necessary, we will pursue a partisan solution. I'm here to announce today that we have formed a 25th Amendment Political Action Committee and a 25th Amendment Super Political Action Committee. We hope to be to the 25th Amendment what the NRA is to the Second. We will support any candidate, Democrat or Republican, who supports strengthening the 25th Amendment, as Jamie Raskin has proposed, or who openly calls for Trump's removal under the 25th Amendment, as we have. Congressional candidates, our message to you is this. The 25th Amendment is an issue to run on, and it is an issue to win on, because Americans are rightfully angry and scared, and they will turn out. They will flock to the polls for a candidate who promises to keep them safe from the clear and present danger called Donald Trump. And so it is with great pleasure that we've been able to donate a check to Jamie for $1,000. It's just a start. also have an award for you, Jamie, our first annual Legislator of the Year Award. We hope it's our last. To honor and thank you for your pioneering work on HR 1987. But wait, we have more swag than the Oscars here. We also have a signed copy of our newly released book, The Dangerous Copy of Donald Trump, 27 Psychiatrists and Mental Health Experts Assess a President, which I'm happy to say will appear on the New York Times bestseller list.
Hey.
And we have a copy of our petition for mental health professionals, now with over 64,000 signatures, which we will be mailing to every member of Trump's cabinet today. Jamie, I'm going to tell it straight. Your work on HR 1987 shows me that you've got brains and you've got balls. You're my kind of guy. We are grateful to you. We are behind you. And let me make this perfectly clear. We're not going anywhere until Donald Trump is gone. And so with that, I'm going to give the floor to Jamie. I'm sorry, I think you meant to hold the mic. I might have to first hand you the mic. And there you go. Somebody's going to take a ceremonial picture of my hand and do this. Here's your other swag. The floor is yours.
Microphone. Do I need the microphone?
Yes.
Put it. That doesn't work. All right, I'm used to speaking to large crowds, so I need the mic.
Put it on.
You guys hear me back there? All right. Tell me if you've got a problem, and we'll figure something out. But I haven't said anything yet. Look, I want to thank John, and I want to thank all the organizers and all the participants for this award and for inviting me to come and talk to you, but most importantly for the work that you're doing. I hope that you are not going to become to the 25th Amendment what the NRA is to the Second Amendment, because that would mean you would have to mischaracterize and distort the meaning of the 25th Amendment. And I don't want you to do that. All right, I want you to be to the 25th Amendment what the ACLU is to the First Amendment. The Second Amendment, by the way, gives people a right, according to the Supreme Court in the Heller decision in 2008, to have handguns for personal self-defense and to have rifles for hunting and reasonable recreation activity. It doesn't give anybody the right to an automatic weapon, a semi-automatic assault weapon, or to access guns without a background check. So let's be clear that we can satisfy Second Amendment values and get dangerous guns and firearms off of the streets. All right, well look, one of the reasons I admire what you're doing is because it is a very difficult task here, and I think we've got to sort out some different issues in discussing this, okay? And the first question is whether citizens of the United States have the right to opine publicly, as you have, on other people's mental health. That's a serious question, okay? It's not normally a polite thing to do. It's not always a kind thing to do. Nor is it necessarily always a helpful thing to do, as you know. And it's certainly not a politic thing to do. And I try to refrain from doing it the best that I can in normal circumstances. And I will indeed try today to refrain from doing that today, okay? I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychologist. I am not a psychoanalyst. I'm a professor of constitutional law, and I'm a member of the United States House of Representatives. And I want to talk about this problem as a problem of the Constitution and a problem of public policy. And you are here to help inform that discussion, but no discipline is going to be determinative or controlling in the determination of the questions that we need to address as a matter of public policy. Now, however, we must begin with the clear statement that speech about mental health is constitutionally protected under our First Amendment, even when dealing with high government officials. A perfect example of such speech took place in May of this year when President Donald Trump spoke about James Comey's mental health in the Oval Office. And here I quote from a May 19